It's my pleasure and honor to be here. I thank the organizing committee in Pune, and directly will go to the testing protocols of electroethnogram EOG. The origins and the advanced protocols should be taken care of by other speakers. So this is how the protocol that we are following and need to be followed as per the ISET standards. The updated standard is in 2022 for the ERG. So this is how the term electroethnogram simply means that it's a full field or flash electroethnogram. So the stimulator is a Ganzfeld stimulator. The purpose is to stimulate the entire edge retina as possible with an external stimulation. The responses generated are recorded in basically two phases, one during the dark adapted phase and the light adapted phase. The electrodes used they are active, where the electrodes that picks up the signals, so that there can be various types of electrodes ranging from contact lens electrodes to the skin electrodes. When the electrodes are contact lens, the pickup of the responses, the amplitude is better, good, compared to skin electrodes that have the waves have a low amplitude. The other electrodes, as is shown here, can range from Jari electrode, DTL electrodes, and the skin electrodes. The active electrodes need to be placed near on the cornea or bulbar conjunctiva or skin close to the cornea. This is connected to a positive terminal. Then a reference electrode is used, which is connected to a negative terminal, and the difference, so that there is a difference of potential that can be recorded. There is a ground electrode which can be placed either the skin on the forehead or near the mandible or just anterior to the ear. The patient preparations include usually for fulfill the electroethnogram, the subject need not be examined with a bright light source like indirect ophthalmoscopy, fluorescein angiogram, or any other examination that uses intense light. If this examination is done, then it requires the patient for an extended period where the patient needs to come to a normal illumination, or the dark adapted period is extended. Normally, the standards recommend 20 minutes of dark adaptation and 10 minutes of light adaptation. The fixation here, this is a fulfilled ERG is a test where the cooperation is not that essential. Even those with nystagmus and poor cooperation, also the responses can be collected. Now this is how the waves look like. Basically the A wave and B wave, they are analyzed in the terms of amplitude and time to peak. The amplitude is measured from the baseline to the height of the waves, that is the trough in case of A wave, and from the trough of A wave to the peak in case of B wave. The time to peak from the signal to the maximum response. So this is how a report looks like. We should know how to interpret these responses. There are 6 responses, and these responses need to be pronounced or analyzed in a standard way. So the protocol is to tell the responses in the terms of state of adaptation and the stimulus strength used. So the first one is 0.01 dark adapted ERG. That means the subject is in a dark adapted condition and the strength is 0.01 candela second per meter square. The second and third both are similar, but they are dark adapted 30 ERG, the second one, and the third one is dark adapted 10 ERG. So here a brighter flash is used, so the cone contribution is relatively more. This is important for especially in conditions with hazy media or immature retina where you need a brighter stimulus. The fourth one, actually there is no test, it's just a filtration of the responses in the ascending limb of the B wave, and finally we have 2 responses in the light adapted condition, that is light adapted 30, and the last one is light adapted 30 but 30 hertz flicker, the light flickering at 30 hertz flicker. Both are for the cone system. They are not same, they are complementary to each other, because the last one targets the L and M cones, where the 30 ERG targets both L and S cones. So the reports need to be analyzed in terms of the demographic details, race, gender, people size, the electrodes used, the lab used. First, as Dr. S.J. described, when we look at the responses, we need to analyze that, see that whether they are conforming to the pattern that is expected. Are they reliable or just artifacts? Then individual responses need to be analyzed and compared with the normative standard. So the term normative standard is now replaced in the latest standard. This is termed as reference value. So it is true, every laboratory needs to provide the reference value and the individual waves need to be compared against that. Now finally the electrophysiologist remark. So the pediatric age group recording, as is shown here, there is no standard protocol yet, but we need to know that how to record these babies. The most difficult one are those who are toddlers, like 2 to 4 years of age. Examining them, eliciting a response with a contact lens electrode is very difficult. However, with this device, with the steam electrode, now the examination of these babies in the awake stage has become easy, and one can get a good result, avoiding the sedation or general anesthesia, which can be risky and also can affect the responses. So clinical protocol for electrooculogram, that is in 2017, which is how the setup looks like. Here the subject, the electrodes are placed at the outer and inner confine, and the subject makes excursions between the stimulus kept at 15 degree apart, that is around 30 degree. So 15 minutes in the dark and 15 minutes in the light adapted condition. So the testing is takes around 30 minutes to 45 minutes. In every minute, the eye movements are done for 10 seconds. So 10 seconds in 1 minute, then another 50 seconds patient takes rest, again 10 seconds in the next minute, again 10 seconds in the next minute. Similarly, 15 minutes in the dark, again 15 minutes in the light. So during this 15 minutes, the system averages the amplitude and takes the wave. So we have 15 waves in the dark phase, 15 waves in the light phase, as we can see here. So this is the saccades. When you look at the report, the first important thing to look at how are the saccades. So these square waves, that is peak and the trough, slowly reduce in amplitude to around, say 10 to 15 minutes called as dark trough. Then again they go on increasing till they reach around 10 to 12 minutes called as light peak. So then after that one need to look at the wave, whether when these amplitudes are plotted, there should be a sinus wave like this. So now here it is important that if the machine, if we don't keep the cursor or adjust the trough around 10 to 15 minutes and the light peak, the peak that comes in 7 to 10 minutes, sometimes one can get a erroneous result. You might be having a case with breast disease, but if your cursor, the peak that you have taken is at 2 minutes or another erroneous peak one has taken, then you can get a fallacious Arben ratio. So that is why both the waves, saccades, as well as the wave, the pattern, as well as the Arben ratio are important. So the light peak to dark trough ratio, the replacement term for the Arben ratio as per the latest standard should be around 1.7 to 4.3, and every lab need to have their own reference value. Now finally, this needs lots of cooperation, the test, and if you are not careful, sometimes you can get erroneous results. Say for example, this case you see that the electrodes, when they touch each other, can affect the result of the other side, so-called kissing electrodes. Normally they affect by less than 15%. So one need to be careful. So I stay here and can take questions about.
So thank you so much, sir. So are there any questions from the audience? Okay, so then I have a question for you, sir. So in your opinion, what do you think like the role of doing this electrophysiological test on the general anesthesia? What the CO fluorine and the use, do you think?
I would stop using that. So after we have got that retinal device, I don't remember when I did last, maybe 1 year ago. So when we did that time, the protocol that we used to do is like the handheld device we need to take to the OR. Now there we need to be careful to get adequate dark adaptation, because OR setup, we have lights, all these things. So we used to close all the lights. We also tried using a black umbrella, around the cloth, black cloth, in addition to the dark adaptation to maximize the responses. We used to get good results. Now here, mostly I used to do them in the pediatric age group. There I learned that we need to differentiate between extinguished responses and non-recordable responses. So the responses that we get depends on the stimulus strength that we are using. You may get a response recording that shows us the waves are flat. But if you use a higher intensity light source, then you can get some responses. So if you tell that no, there is no response from the retina is not functioning just by looking at one type of tracing, you might be wrong, because in babies the retina is requires a higher light stimulus. So if those which show extinguished responses, if you do at a higher strength, you may get some responses. So it is wise to tell them as non-recordable responses. And in fact, the last the protocol that we are doing, non-extended one, have closed eyelid ERGs. So babies, even if they close the eyelids in the awake stage, like they sleep off in the OPD, close the eyelids. If the red light with a higher strength, prolonged of light is used, we can get a response that we see in the...
I just want to add on that it's the anesthetic drug or the sedative drug which will influence the outcome of your ERG. So if you are going to do ERGs in children under GA for whatever reason, then you should have a standard protocol by the anesthetist, what drug they are giving, what they are not giving. The challenge is to get a normative data with that drug, because you need a normative data, because it's going to reduce your responses. So the best way to get normative data is possibly that those children who are getting NLD, syringe and probing, that you can dilate them and take a consent, and those children you can do ERG to get your normative response. Now, whatever protocol they use for syringe probing, the anesthetic drug or sedative, whatever they use, then the same they should use for the electrophysiology. So that's way to do it.
One audience, please go ahead.
In the pediatric age group only, when pediatricians refer to is the visual potential is there, or child has hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, kindly do a VEP recordings, or the eye frequently moves. If it is not under anesthesia, the eye frequently moves, and like a retrieval device or any other device, it is said that the pupil should be within the circle, in the reference circle. So how reliable are the responses, and how can we interpret them then?
So for the retina, because the whole Gansfeld is placed right around the eye, it is covering the whole eye. So if the child is opening the eye, it doesn't matter that because for flash ERG you don't need fixation. You only need to eliminate the whole retina. Okay. So even if the child doesn't fixate, has nystagmus or squint or wherever, as long as the Gansfeld is there and the pupil is well dilated, you will get the response, and it will be reliable.
In these group, many times we are not that much particular with exact amplitude, latencies. Mostly we need to have a qualitative idea, and that qualitative idea you can get by briefing the protocols also. There's a brief protocol. The momentally the child looks at the fixation target, you can get a response there. And sir, regarding what you said, increase the intensity of the stimulus, like till what level can we increase the stimulus? Yeah, they have extended protocols like the Retival that I used for closed lid. I went up to somewhere 50 prolongers. So each machine has that recommendation, how much, what strength you need to use.
So in the ISO standard, there is something called a bright flash ERG. So they said do normal, and that bright flash is 6 log units light above the standard flash. So that is what we use.
And ma'am, since there might be a lot of ERG being done, like can you, is there any published literature of the standard data in the pediatric age group, ma'am?
It is there. It is there.
Is that retrieval device?
Yeah, it is there.
I said has, and also the publications by Anthony Robson, in there also you have a pediatric ERG protocol.